Welcome to the Contractors Revenue Disruptor Podcast, where we teach you to win $1 million contracts. I'm Michael D. Young.
What's up, everybody? I am Michael D. Young, your host for the Revenue Disruptor Podcast. I'm so excited as I have a special guest with us here today, Knakeesha Samuels with Silent K Branding. And if you didn't know, you must have some branding within your organization because it is how people see you. And so welcome, Knakeesha. We're so glad to have you here today.
Thank you.
And
Thank you for having me.
I know it was suppressed to be here through the different challenges you had fighting this flu season like so many people are. But thank you for coming. And
Yeah.
I heard you earlier talking about your coaching program and what you do. So tell us, first of all, a little bit more about your company, Silent K Branding, and then tell us about your coaching platform.
Yeah, so thank you for having me, first of all. Like you said, we had a little bit of challenges, but I'm glad that you took the time to schedule me and, be patient. So, yeah, Silent K Branding is my baby, and it is my second business that I started. My first business was a corporate event planning company called Charisma, and in the pandemic, I was forced to, kind of pivot and figure some things out, and friends and clients and colleagues kind of forced me into leaning into, like, my branding side that I always used to bring to corporate events.
Okay.
So I started Silent K Branding 2 years ago, and it's been the best change ever for like my business and just who I am as a person.
Yeah.
So we offer coaching and consulting services for small, medium-sized businesses and nonprofits in the spaces of social media and event planning.
Okay. Awesome. Event planning and social media.
Yeah.
So what does that look like? So if I was a company and I needed your assistance, what would you do for me, specifically?
Yeah, so it varies. So some people come to me and they're like, you know what, Knakeesha, I have the fundamentals. I just need the coaching. Like, I just need somebody to kind of tell me where my efforts are best laid. And I kind of lay out a program, I lay out a structure and a plan for how they can get their brand out there in the ways that they want to.
Okay.
So coaching is one way, or I do offer done-for-you services.
Okay.
So that would entail like social media management, social media campaigns that are like more targeted at certain things, and or event campaigns. So usually for my clients, I'm not doing as many like one-off events. I'm more so doing like we want events to be a part of our marketing strategy, our brand strategy, and I'll build out like monthly, quarterly, and annual events that kind of tie into that.
Okay. Awesome. So you talked about the coaching piece, which sounds like strategy. Like you're giving people a strategy on how they should launch, how they should reach, and how they should promote their brand, right? So you're talking about the promotion side or the marketing side of that. What have you noticed the most that's missing in most businesses as you're providing your services for them?
Execution. There's like a big, huge piece missing with execution, because when it comes to creative ideas, like a lot of like business owners and professionals, they'll have it. Like, let's say you're like a lawyer and you have like these
they'll have it or they won't?
They'll have it. They'll have the creative ideas. But if you're a lawyer or a doctor or a real estate agent, your head is probably down doing that. Right? You don't really have the infrastructure within your business to implement creative ideas. So you need somebody to come in from a creative space and connect those dots for you.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's actually huge, because I have a recorded video for my mentorship program that talks about the different aspects of a business and what you need to have. So in the construction industry, my industry, of course, we have the people that actually do the work. That's the operation side of actually putting the building together, right? But then we have human resources, we have the accounting, We have what we call estimating. That means we have a department that actually focuses on pricing the jobs. But then we also have marketing and business development. And oftentimes, companies do not have the financial resources to hire that, so they have those individuals in-house. So sounds like that's where you would pick up and provide those types of services for a company. You said a lot of times they have the creative ideas, but they don't have a way to implement it. What things do you do to actually help implement those creative ideas? Like, can you talk more about, what does that look like? Because some people don't know it's missing until you show up, right?
A lot of times it just starts with a conversation. Like I start every project with a consultation, and it just starts with, hey, what are some, KPIs, some key performance indicators that you're looking for, like in sales and business development, different areas. And I really just start to talk to people. Right. And like you said, like those people are usually in-house, let's say, if they have a certain structure within their business. Yeah. So I'll just start talking like, hey, so what are some things you've noticed? What are some things that you've thought about? Like I said, the creative ideas are there. There's just no one there to foster them or to like kind of bring them to life. So usually it's just, hey, let's have a conversation. Bring the people in the room that you feel like know or understand where you're trying to go with things, right? Then from there, it's an action plan. It's like, okay, let's write down. Let's go from the bigger picture of what you're trying to accomplish and like scale it on back. What would you need to do to make that happen? What are some things you need to put in place? What are the action steps? If it's a year-long thing, a quarterly plan, a monthly plan, whatever it is, you just got to put it on paper and like have action steps there.
Got you. Yeah. So can you give me an example of a company that you did this for and like walk us through the process of like literally the details of what you did? And the reason why I'm asking this because I don't want the conversation to be or come across too general. Yeah. And I want people to really understand why they need someone like you to help them in their business. And because I know of you already and I've seen your work. Yeah. And I want to make sure that if people never follow me or follow you, that they still understand why they should be, trying to get someone like you or hire someone like you, whether it's going to be in-house or as a consultant to do the things you're talking about doing. So if you can kind of give us an example of a company you work with.
And only reason I struggle in saying that is because I usually am like a company secret weapon. Like people usually don't know when I've been put in place to like, make some things happen. So you know what? I'll say one because this chapter actually doesn't, they actually closed down, so I can talk about it now, right? So a lot of people know me from my work with the NFL alumni. So I was brought in about, I think like 2016, 2017 to work with the NFL alumni by their president at the time. And basically they were struggling with taking like their organization and kind of bringing it like to a modern place, right? So NFL alumni, people don't really even know what it is.
They were trying to change the culture.
Yeah, they were trying to change the culture and make it a little younger, hipper, more modern, bring it to the social media realm, really take their events to like the next level and things like that. And it's so funny because even within that position, I didn't even feel qualified to do what they were asking me to do, but they put me in place, they brought me in, and I was really just in charge of making their stuff relevant to the new age. Okay. Because within the NFL world, so NFL alumni is basically the charity wing of the NFL where former players, they put together different chapters and they use their likeness to raise money for charitable different projects, right? So they have events that they have to do as a chapter, which is like their golf event and like membership drives, very, very minimal things. So they were like, you know what, we want to do those events, but then we want to do more. We have like fundraising goals that we want to reach. We have social media goals that we want to reach. And at the time, Pro Bowl was here in Orlando. So they wanted to make the Central Florida chapter kind of like the hub for the former players that were coming into town and things that were going on to raise money for this, community. Because a lot of times with Pro Bowl, it's like all of this money comes in, all of these players come in, and it's like is the actual community, seeing or getting that? So we were taking like all of that was happening and figuring out like charities locally that we could give to, different programs that we could give to here in Orlando, like Boys and Girls Club, and we were working with like One Heart and just different like hyper local organizations. So that was a lot of fun. Like we at one point we were up to like a week's worth of events around Pro Bowl, and it started with them only doing one. Yeah.
So what type of things were you all like? Did you come up with a specific strategy to help them transition maybe their old ways of thinking to become more modernized? Like, what was one of the things you kind of worked with them on?
Again, the first thing was getting them on social. So I'm like, you're doing these events and nobody knows about them.
So getting on social media sometimes is just a huge step for most people.
Yes, because when you have a board, it's like the board is they all have their own businesses. They're all kind of separate. So that's the kind of the space where everything that you're doing comes together and is showcased, right? So getting them on social was the first one. Driving membership. That was a really big one because it's like, I don't know if people know this, but Central Florida has the most like retired NFL and NBA players. They come here to settle down, right? So they're here. Why don't you have a bigger membership? So we focused on trying to do like membership drives and do things, especially to have like the younger players join. So that was a big thing. And then just driving those numbers as far as like how much they were raising per event, and sponsorship too. That was a big part. Like we needed to raise the bar. They were not asking for enough in sponsorship dollars at all.
So when you all started working on trying to get all of these people that are here exposed, were you focused more on social media? How did you get the word out? What did that look like?
Yeah, social media was first. Local media was after that. So we did engage with like getting them on the news when they were doing different programs and stuff like that, getting them written about, local press. And then engaging just the athletes that were here to come out and share, to show their face, to be like, oh, hey, let's do a ball signing. How did y'all do that? I mean, if I'm at home chilling, like, what inspired me? I made my money. I'm good. What inspired me to come out? On the corporate event side, I always say I'm a little bit of a stalker. I'm gonna find you.
So it's just a follow. It's just a follow up. I think it's easy to overlook some of these tips that she's given us because we don't think about this stuff. You mentioned there's so many people like me that's out there. When I was focused on my business, which is construction, I didn't care about social media. My wife came on. She was like, Michael, we need to do more social media. And it wasn't until I started my coaching business that I actually started putting more emphasis on it, because I recognized through my business coaches, it was like, hey, you got to get the word out. You got to tell somebody about what you're doing. You mentioned how you all use social media, how you use local press, right? How you did personal follow-up. All of these things tied into your marketing efforts in order to create awareness. Not necessarily get the people there, but that just created the awareness. And I think it's important for our small businesses to recognize those are things that we need to do and implement and incorporate into our business in order just to create more awareness around our companies. Are there any other reasons you see social media being important for every business? Why is it important for every business?
Again, I just try to strip things down for people. This is a free platform that billions of people are on. As a business owner, it's like just silly to not utilize. Like even if you do it in like small ways, or you figure out like your small community to tap into, it's just, it doesn't make any sense to not be. Let me maybe push back on that. Just I'm with you, but let me just push back from the 49-year-old perspective. Most of my business at the time was B2B. Business to business, right? Corporation to corporation. I didn't have sales or revenues come in from people that saw ACY contractors on Facebook. So why should I invest time Well,
you have an argument for that position?
I do, because I feel like there's a platform for everyone, right?
Okay.
So you have LinkedIn.
Okay.
So that's huge. Like LinkedIn is huge if you're doing more B2B, communication and marketing and things like that. So that's a whole platform. And then how you utilize Facebook is going to probably be a little bit different. Okay. You're probably going to want to focus more on like community and like presenting yourself as a leader in your community through Facebook. Why? Rather than just. But why? Because then you become that person that, when people are like, oh, you know what, I need this, I need something for this, and this. Can somebody tag? Or they're having those conversations on Facebook. You become the person that they start putting into and interjecting. Like, oh, do you know Michael? Do you know ACY Construction? Like, that's a real moneymaker when you don't have to do it yourself.
Listen, she just dropped some game on you. Listen. If you didn't understand anything, I hope you just heard what she said. Sometimes it's not that person that you are reaching directly for business, but you are creating awareness in the community. And so when someone needs your service or product, referrals happen. And all of a sudden now your name is the first that comes to mind because people are aware of you. And I think, I see that all the time in our different groups within the community locally, whether I won't name them because I don't want to get into that, but let's just call it ABC organization. That is a group on Facebook, and somebody says, hey, I need someone to help me with my branding. And all of a sudden you start seeing Knakeesha Samuels, Knakeesha Samuels. You keep on saying your name over and over again. It's like, oh, because she has created awareness about her organization. Or if somebody says, I want to do business with another diverse owned company, give me, if it's construction, hey, give me one. Then they start seeing that name populate. So we can't underestimate the power of even the audiences that we do not sell to directly, that we're also creating a community and creating awareness in that community that referrals come through.
Yes, and so one thing, like people always ask me, well, Knakeesha, like how did you build up like your network? How did you build up like your pipeline? And honestly, it was through brand cheerleaders. Even before I was.
That's what you call it, brand cheerleaders.
Yeah, I call them brand cheerleaders.
Okay.
I feel like, especially like in Central Florida, I feel like I built up a really good, network of brand cheerleaders. There are some people out there that refer me or really put my name out there that I've actually never directly done business with.
Right.
Like they've never actually contracted me, and vice versa. I just see who they are at their core and see their values, and I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna keep putting them into positions for different things. And it's in the hopes, of course, that it'll come back to me in some ways. But like sometimes I've done it for people for years, and it's never directly come back. But who knows? Yeah. Who knows what conversations or what rooms they're bringing me up in that I'm not aware of?
That's good. That's some good stuff. You were talking about earlier, part of your coaching business or your strategy that you help other companies formulate. Two things I want to talk about in that regard, but let's talk about strategy first. What are some thoughts behind strategy? Because my business coach was like, you all got to stop posting just to post. Like you're just putting stuff on social media. You don't even have a reason why you put it there. You just, hey, I'm sharing my family, like, or hey, I'm sharing this behind the scenes today. Like, what is the strategy behind you posting? I think that's not often discussed. Can you talk about some of the different strategies that are out there behind posting on social media?
And it's funny that because you mentioned my coaching program, right? Yeah. So my coaching program is called the Amplified Brand Method. Okay. And so amplified branding is something it's actually my methodology that I've just come up with over years, even something I probably was starting with my first business and I wasn't aware of. But just that idea that everything that you do within your business and your brand has this amplification, like process and model to it. Like there's not a lot of times that I do like one thing. Like even today for this podcast, it's gonna be on social. I'm gonna put it in an email and blast it out to people. Like I'm going to make sure that there's a ripple effect to everything that I do for my business. Yeah, because time is money. Like you're running a business, you don't have time to like waste things. So anytime I'm presented with an opportunity to put my brand out there or do some type of branding, I'm making sure that it's got 3, 4, 5, whatever different touches within my brand strategy that I can use for it.
So stay right there. So talk about because we getting into the details. So when you're talking about repurposing content, and I still want to get back to like the strategy behind like what's this strategy like, what are we targeting? But when you're talking about repurposing content, you listed like, hey, I'm gonna do 2 to 5 things in order to have this ripple effect. I like that. I'm gonna use that. Okay.
My amplification method.
Amplification method. This ripple effect. I love that term. Like, what does that look like?
So even just going right back to the post, right? So you're posting your family. So I know a lot of times it's like, you just want to post a photo.
Right.
But I always think, I'm like, okay, so if I'm going to post this photo of my family, who is that going to reach?
Right.
Who's that going to talk to?
Right.
How can I bring that call to action back to that person that I'm talking to? Right. How, it's always got to have 2 or 3 effects. Not a lot that I do or I post or I put out there is a one-dimensional, brand strategy. It's always a bunch of different things. So if I'm looking at this photo that I want to post and I'm like, you know what, I can only really, all this is really doing is aesthetics.
Okay.
It's probably going to be next. I'm looking for, content that's going to do something, that's going to move the needle in some ways.
Okay.
Can I post it here? Can I share this in the DMs and start a conversation with somebody?
Okay.
Can I put that call to action in a link and get them to move somewhere? Can I even get them to drop comments down below to just boost my engagement?
So now we're talking about the different strategies, right? So whether it's awareness that we're trying to bring to our brand or whether it's getting people to engage with us, because sometimes what most people don't know on social media, there's something called an algorithm. And if you don't have enough awareness, it's going to definitely decline your engagement, and vice versa. If you don't have enough engagement, it's going to reduce your awareness. And so are there any other strategies behind, so we talked about awareness, engagement, any other strategies out there behind like posting on social media?
Kind of the combination of the two is reach.
Okay.
So even like when you're looking at Instagram, for example, you can go into your analytics and look at the reach, right? So that reach is kind of, again, that ripple effect.
What does that mean? Because I've seen, all right, now I have an expert, so I'm about to get some free coaching. So, so if I go into, you have to have a business account, right?
Yes.
If I have a business account on social media and I go into my analytics and I look and I see reach, what does that mean?
So that means like everything that basically who are you reaching out to beyond like who just your followers and friends are, right? So you have like your core, like you have, let's say you have 1,000 followers. Those are just like your people. It's showing you like who are you reaching outside of that?
Right.
Even to say that and outside of that, right? So if you're seeing your reach is only like 100 people, that means you're barely even scratching the surface of who your followers are.
Right.
You're trying to see what that ripple effect is beyond. So I have some of the posts I do is just is really geared towards the people who are already like my followers, who are probably already in the sales pipeline. They're probably like warm leads if you think about it, because they follow me, they engage my content, they're saving already, they like the educational pieces, right? Sometimes I'm posting because I want people to like share it. Okay. Put it in their stories, even if it's just like a quote or something like that. Those are things that people put in their stories, which is engaging my reach.
Okay.
So now everybody who's their friends are going to see that quote or that piece of information or, educational piece that I posted. Okay. Sometimes my content is geared just towards that. Okay. So I would say social media strategy is like a whole beast,
that's
right?
a whole nother session. Yeah.
It's a whole beast, but just try to be well-rounded, amplified with each thing that you put out there, and understanding that like every single piece of content has a different interaction on social.
Right. So every piece of content has a different purpose. It will produce a different result, right? So what's the difference between impressions and reach? Because I see that other word, impressions.
Honestly, I can't can't tell you that I know that 110%, but I know it's like how many people actually touch your content. So like, let's say like they're liking it, commenting, viewing, and I think there's a level of like how long they view it that counts as an impression. Yeah. I'm not gonna sit here and say I'm an expert at that part, but I've learned the things that matter to me.
Yeah. That's a good point as far as the types of content. We got awareness, engagement, educational. So there's different types of content. I like what you said with the amplification or the ripple effect, making sure that we're able to get multiple touch points from one piece of content. I like that a lot. And just thinking about, I think most of us that post, we just don't think about all of that, when we're posting. Like, there's a strategy behind this. Like, we're not just thinking about that when we're getting ready to post. What, I was talking to my wife about that. We see, and I can't talk bad about anybody because I just learned it myself. But, it's not like I'm an expert at it yet. But I recognize we've seen other people's posting that are quote unquote celebrity or has some type of celebrity status. I'm like, well, why are they posting that? Like, what's the purpose of that content? And I think it's important for people to recognize that your content should always have a purpose, and it should always have some type of result. Even if you're not a business owner, what are you trying to convey? And then, do you want them to engage more with you? Do you want them to interact more with you? Yeah. Like, like you said, do you want them to share your post? And what's the purpose of? Is it just to increase awareness, to get others to share, or what's the main thought?
And then even like with me, like my content strategy changes quarterly. So I'm still a small and growing business, right? So I am not able to take on clients all the time because when I'm onboarding a client, it takes about 90 days to really get into a good rhythm with them about like what we're trying to do, the strategy, and like, measuring success. Right. So I open my books in the first and third quarter. So what I am posting in the first quarter when I am actively looking for clients, and what I post in the second and fourth quarter, and all I'm doing is kind of nurturing my audience, is way different.
So this that was good. So the first quarter, right? You're posting. What type of content are you posting to get more clients in the first quarter? What's up, everybody? If you are a construction contractor and you're looking to win $1 million contracts, grow and scale your business, I help contractors win $1 million contracts so they can make more money working fewer projects with less employees. And we do this through my mentorship program. In my mentorship program, we have bi-monthly group coaching, we have CEO groups. We provide you an online course, and we teach you the strategies you need in order to scale your business, and we help implement the systems you need on the back end to support your growth. Because number one, you definitely need the resume, the resources, and the relationships to scale your business. Then we've recently added a mentor protege program with major corporations. This is huge because number one, it allows you to learn how other major corporations desire their projects to be run, so you understand their expectations. You're learning, growing, and developing relationships with major corporations, which always leads to more business opportunities. I want to tell you, no one else is doing this in the industry, and you've come to the right place. If you are looking to truly grow and scale your business, I've done it over and over again. I've won multiple awards for scaling a construction company, and I want to show you everything that I did to do it. So if you're looking to scale, grow your business, win $1 million contracts, sign up right now for my free training. It's very simple. It'll be on the screen, and we'll see you soon. God bless.
So I post to get more discovery calls. So I do like 15-minute discovery calls when I am prospecting for new clients, or when I have the availability to take on new clients, just to see how many people I can talk to to get them interested in working with me on long term. So like all of my content is geared towards 15-minute consultation. I'm trying to get at least 20 a week.
And that focus more in the actual media, or is that in the actual copy, or
both. So I'm probably doing things that are a lot more educational.
Okay.
So I'm educating big time, like, hey, this is, and then I'm also educating people on what it's like to work with me. Like I'm showing them.
That's good.
Yeah, I'm showing them like these are the things I can help you with, talking to their pain points,
right?
Things like that. Dropping like doing a little humble bragging.
No, that's
dropping
good.
accolades so people can see like, oh, okay, this is what she does. I've been looking for this. Okay, let me book this call and go forward with her.
No, that's good. Like that just helped me, because I'm starting to think about, and I know my wife, who's almost always right, except at work, but she's almost always right. And she told me, so it's like, Michael, you got to get people to see you actually on the job site.
Yeah.
Like see you actually in construction. So now they're it's validating who you are as an expert, and now they're more inclined to reach out to you. And I think you made a great point that you have seasons within your company. You need to know that. What type of season are you in? Are you in the season where you're trying to bring on new clients, or like you said, I'm nurturing clients right now. I have enough work for in the construction industry. It's like, okay, I have enough backlog. I have enough work. Right now, I'm focusing on fulfilling the work in the contracts that I currently have. So maybe my social media changes, maybe my marketing strategy changes during this time. And so I have to start actively thinking about that. That's the stuff we don't think about at all, right? And I think it's important, if you're able to hire someone as a consultant or bring in someone in-house to start thinking about those types of strategies. That's really, really important. I really love what you talked about, how when you're trying to attract new clients that you're doing educational types of posts. Yeah. And then you say you're doing some humble bragging. You say, that's
talking about other people I worked with and stuff like that, and projects, and posting case studies. So like, oh, I helped this person go from this to this, stuff like that. Those are the things that I found that have gotten me more bookings. So, again, back to those analytics, I'm looking at it. Like the first year that I started Silent K Branding, especially, I was so heavy on social with it. I did a lot of just looking. Like I'm like looking at what's working, like what are people doing when I put out this type of content? Like, are they clicking? Are they sharing? Are they saving? Stuff like that. So in this first quarter, it's going to be all about clicks and saves. Because if they save it, that means they're trying to come back to it later to either when they're ready to book or ready to, talk to me or stuff like that. Or they found it like the education piece useful. Okay,
you giving a lot of language that everybody in my audience won't understand. I understand it, but it's because I've transitioned into a different industry. So saves, clicks. I want to make sure we unpack that for those that may not know. Also, I mentioned earlier media and copy. So let me give you the definition. So media could be the video, the picture, the carousel, whatever that visual is. The copy is the actual written content, or what we say caption in the post. And so I want people to make sure people understand that that's out there listening. Also, you're talking about the saves. Let's man, we're going a little deep, right? Let's talk about the saves. I like that because I never really thought about that. And I haven't actually even looked in my analytics to see if people are actually saving. So you said if people are saving the post, that means they're coming back to re-engage with it. Yeah. So what does that mean? That's like a warm lead possibly, or what?
Yes. So you're not going to be able to see like exactly who saved it, but you can see like
how many people saved it.
So like even, I'm going to put out my little plug, right? So I did this one post and it was basically like steal my content strategy, right? And this goes to show you like how simple content can be. So I have a Trello board that I use with all my clients.
What's a Trello board?
So Trello is like an app that's like client management.
Okay.
Yeah, like task management, like a task management tool that I use with all of my clients. They each get a board, and that's where we share and organize content, ideas, strategy, and campaigns.
Okay.
Right? So one day, one of my clients, who's actually a good friend of mine, she was like, you know what, this Trello board is like really dope. Like, have you ever thought about sharing it? So we were at lunch when she told me this idea. Not even related. She did this really quick, like, little video of me eating, drinking, whatever.
Right.
I put the stuff on there and it was like, steal my content strategy board.
Wow.
Still to this day, the most saved.
Engagement.
And it didn't even have that many likes, but it's gotten me the most consultations, the most calls, the most business from that one post. And you can see it because it's the most saved post on any of my content. And I put the steal my content strategy board into the link in my bio so people can download it. They can see the Trello board and use it in their business and everything. But yeah, like a 5-second video.
Awesome. So do you think people that are doing what you're doing save those posts?
I'm sure.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
I'm sure they do. I'm sure there's other, because on Trello board, I can see who all downloads it, and I have everybody's emails. So, I mean, I've definitely seen other people in my space download that board, so they probably took it and used it with their clients, but...
Yeah. I mean, I was talking about this in a previous episode. It's important that we share information, especially within our community, that we're helping somebody else, and we can't see everybody as competition. And even friendly competition is okay. Yeah. But we have to get in the place where we get over the crabs and the barrel mentality, and that we're helping others in our community to succeed.
Yes, and then keep in mind what I said, the most thing that people need me for is execution. So, I mean, the board is a board.
Right. Can you execute it, though? Right. I mean, can you execute it, though?
If you're not actually following up with it, then the board is just a board at the end of the day. It's just a template if you don't know how to use it.
You know, it's funny. I was watching this guy post. He's a photographer, videographer, graphic designer. And he was like, you all keep on asking me what camera I use so you can go out and buy this camera. But until you have the 10 years of education and experience behind executing, using the camera and lighting and understanding all that, can your pictures turn out the way mine do? And I was like, that's a phenomenal way to think about it. It's like everybody's like, okay, what kind of equipment you have? And, I like the way that look, but you don't know how to use it. Like literally just for this podcast, we bought some camera equipment, and literally we're sitting in here trying to figure out all these different modules and different settings and all this. And it's like, okay, someone that maybe has that experience, we always will go the slow route when we don't choose to pay for it. If we want it for free, it's going to take longer. But if we want speed, we have to pay the price for speed. Yeah. What led you into this industry? Like, how did you get here?
Oh man, that's such a origin story. So I actually went to culinary school. So a lot of people don't know that. I went to Johnson Wales in Miami. Okay. I went to culinary school. I love to cook. However, I had one job in a commercial kitchen.
And that was it?
that was all it took. Okay. I was like, no ma'am, no sir. So I actually got into events at hotels. So I had a job at the Marriott where I was doing event management, event operations, and I was seeing firsthand the amount of money that these corporations were pouring into corporate events, brand activations, and conferences, and I was very intrigued. Okay. I would spend most of my time like just talking to the event planners about like, well, how did you do this, and how is McDonald's paying you all this money to come and do this, huge brand activation? And that was in New Orleans, and New Orleans is a big conference city, so it's like millions.
You said brand activation. What can you explain that a little bit more?
We just covered this in my coaching class last night. So brand activations are just ways that people bring like their branding to life, right? So that can be through events, through marketing campaigns. It's so funny. I used the Barbie movie yesterday in my coaching program as the example. So if you see how like Barbie took the movie and the launch and the premiere to turn that into like merchandising events, influencer marketing campaigns, and they did like a lot of partnerships. So like through Forever 21 and Airbnb, those are all brand activations, ways that they're bringing their branding to life so that people can be immersed in what they're doing.
So all right, so let me pause and get some more free advice. If I have a construction company, can you help me understand, number one, what would I do for brand activation? Like, I know you may haven't dealt in this industry before, but I'm just thinking it has to be something.
I just had a great idea.
Okay.
See, this is what I mean about like, you can't, like the way my brain works, it's hard to duplicate, right? So you could have like hard hat tours. Like, have you ever done like press hard hat tours for your projects? Just to highlight you as the construction company, like what you do. Okay. You know, I think that would be a
hard hat tour. So, so you mean just taking a person, a people or persons on a tour of one of my jobs?
Yeah, like a press tour.
Okay, a press.
Like maybe like like when you're in that stage, like you're not quite done, but you're right there, so people can see the vision before the vision. You do like some blown up posters of like what the renderings of what the end is going to be like. Gotcha. You know, branded, you know, hard hats and vests, and you just invite the press out. That's nice.
I know a lot of companies work with their clients. So as a contractor, most of us get pulled into something like that if we're doing like a grand opening or if we're doing what we call a topping out party. So topping out parties are probably the most common way to do something like what you're referring to. Normally, the term came from once the roof was installed or once that last level of the ceiling or the deck of a building was installed. It's kind of like a halfway point during the construction, right? You're out of the ground, you know, you're topping out. Yeah. But all of the drywall, the painting, the flooring, all of that stuff is not complete yet. And so normally you have a topping out party in the middle and then maybe a grand opening once it's done. Yeah. And I really haven't leveraged that. I think, babe, what we've maybe done, maybe 1 or 2 topping out parties, a couple grand openings. I know we did one at UF for their surplus warehouse. But yeah, that would definitely increase awareness and continue to help others to see me as an expert in the industry.
And even now you're seeing a lot more like in the press where they are acknowledging the developers and the construction companies behind projects. Right? Like Orlando Business Journal and Bangalore and Orlando Week, all these places, they're doing these stories of like how places are opening and how developments are opening, and they're including quotes and, you know, perspectives from the construction companies as well. So
okay, awesome. Yeah. So I can hear somebody. I can hear one of my clients. I can hear somebody that follows me. I don't have a huge project. I don't have a huge company. Like, why should I do this?
I think everybody has an angle. Everybody has a story, right? So once you find your kind of newsworthy, press-worthy angle, you harp on that.
What you mean by angle? What you mean?
So like even as like a minority-owned business, or like where you're opening your projects, or what that community is doing or going through or developing, you know, what was your idea and your vision behind the project. Gotcha. You just have to find that headline within whatever it is that you're working on.
Okay. So that's basically another way to kind of associate a story with what you're doing and the importance of it. And I think sometimes we overlook that. We just think it's just another job.
Yeah, we all have our heads down working that we're not taking the time to be like, actually tell people. Tell people and show people like, oh, okay, yeah, this is what we're doing. This is why we're doing it. Yeah. You know?
That's really good. That's really good. And I think another thing, we're not willing oftentimes to take the time and the treasure it takes, the money it takes to invest in doing something like that. Do you think there is a certain return on investment when we actually take that time, that money to allocate to doing things like this?
Yes, I definitely believe so. Even like within like the Amplify brand method, it's really all about doing so much to build the foundation of your brand that you do less selling. Like I don't.
Hold up. See, I don't think people got what you just dropped, because I want to make sure that they get it. You just said when you use this amplified brand method, I like to call the ripple effect. You said now you're doing less selling because your brand is selling itself for you.
Yes, I feel like I attract a lot more than I actually do sales for. Every little piece has like a sales component to it, but I can't even really tell you that I've sat down in my business and done quote unquote what people would consider sales. In 2 years, like I can't say that I have. I focus on social media strategy, email marketing strategy, deciding when I need to get out into the community and network and massage my relationships.
This so good. This so good. No, this is really good. Because, see, this is next level stuff. No, this is so good because I want to teach my clients to go from what we call in my industry hard bidding work, which means to competitively bid against 10 other contractors, right? Or the person that you shouldn't even be competing with because they're not on your level, or competing with somebody that's above your level, like whatever that is, to going from hard bidding work to negotiating work. And negotiating work is always based on relationships. And I think you just gave us the secret sauce to doing more negotiated work, because people are coming to us because they want us because of the brand awareness we've created. And you really hit that nail on the head. And I think it's really important that sometimes we overlook that because it's not always tangible. It's kind of intangible, right? It's
very intangible. I can't say every industry is going to be able to be like that. However, I feel like, again, when you build that solid strategy and foundation, it like lessens that pressure as a business owner to be like, oh, I got to be, doing all this stuff. It's like now it's more organic. It's more authentic.
It's more, I love it. It's more organic. It's more authentic. It really tells and allows people to see you for you, who you really are and what you're doing, what you're capable of. It's almost like Picasso. You're painting a picture for people to truly see who you are and what you bring to the table. And I can say that is one of the reasons I believe in you so much. Because I think we met at like a trade show or something originally. Right, I think ACY. We may have had a table, and I don't know. It's been some years. It was
a chamber event, but
it could have been a chamber. I don't remember. It's been some years ago. I think this was before you did Silent K Branding, and just to see how you've kind of created, just like Picasso, this portrait of who you are, what you're capable of. I now see the importance of telling our story, telling our why, and really talking about what we do. And I think you attributed that to that one post with the Twillo board? Trello board. I'm learning a new term today. With the Trello board, because sometimes for those that are introverted like me, we don't talk enough about what we do, how we do it, and really how great we are at it. And listen, I see you as the future here in Orlando.
Oh, thank you.
Like for real, because I see the events that you not only host but promote, brand, and they speak volumes. They're always professional. They're always creative. They're always, to me, it draws me, and I'm like, regardless what happens, I just feel like this is going to be a successful, a popping event. Like, I don't know what goes into all of that.
A lot.
Because my mind doesn't function like yours. Like, I don't see myself as the creative, and I wish I had more creatives around me, honestly. I guess with it coming so natural for you, and it's a gift. I believe it's a gift. Like, would it coming so natural for you? What would you say to anybody that's out there listening today? And you can look right there in that camera. What would you say to anybody out there today that they really need somebody like you? And what encouragement would you offer them? And, you know, what's some advice you would give them?
As far as like just being more creative?
Either being more creative or just recognizing if you're not creative, find somebody like you.
Yeah, I mean, I just feel like we're in a very interesting place as like society, right? Because, and I feel very grateful to be in this space because now being a creative is something that you can build a business around. You know, you can literally monetize your creativity. You know, outside of just being like a painter, musician, and things like that. Like, you could just be like, hey, I am a creative, aka meaning somebody who generally is gifted at having creative ideas. You should pay me for X, Y, and Z. Like, when else in history has that been a thing?
It hasn't.
Right? So as a person who, you know, maybe is thinking about being a little bit more unconventional in the businesses or the way that they choose to earn their living or, you know, what they plan to do with your life, just know that you can get paid for your creative ideas. You just have to figure out how to be professional and package it. So that's one thing. But also on the flip side, like, if you are a professional and you're good at what you do, but you're not as much on the creative side, again, you live in this day and age where there are people out there that can take what you do and turn them into creative ideas and projects and outcomes. So, you know, you just have to really step into it. And the way that corporations and businesses are like up-leveling their creative game, you really got to get in there. Like, the days of putting your face on like a bus bench and thinking that you're going to get that same level of engagement or marketing or sales is just non-existent anymore. You know, you have doctors and surgeons doing TikTok dances.
That's a whole nother conversation.
It's the truth, though. It's the truth. And they're like, and it's like some people are a little cringy. I'm not going to lie to you, but some people are doctors, surgeons, people who are used to be like super straight laced are showing their real personality on social media in labor and delivery.
Wow.
And, you know, I had like one of my favorite influencers, she's probably going to laugh about this, but Dr. Niche, like, I've had her on like on my events, on panels and stuff like that. She's right here in Central Florida. She's an optometrist. And she, you know, has hundreds of thousands of followers. And she started from when she was in optometry school.
Okay.
I don't know if I said that right, but
okay.
you know, she's an eye doctor.
Right.
She built a following off showing people how to girls how to put on lashes properly so that they don't mess up their eyes and take out their contacts the right way. Like, there's a lane for everyone out there.
So you think that it's important for people that's becoming dinosaurs like me to recognize that we can't continue to function in our businesses like we used to, maybe?
I want to say that you can. I'm not going to tell anybody who's been doing what they're doing for a long time and who's successful that they can't. However, you're leaving a lot on the table if you don't.
Wow, you're leaving a lot on the table. So, we just want to understand that we have to start looking at our businesses differently. Like you said, we're leaving a lot on the table if we're not changing and going with the times as times has changed, and recognizing that people want to see who we are and not just our experience per se, but they want to be able to see us. And sometimes we can't leave that out. That's a part of the brand, and that's important for people to convey that and utilize the platforms that are out there, whether it's social media, LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube. Like, there's so many platforms that are free that you don't have to pay for, that people can get to know more about you. And you dropped so many gems today about how we should leverage a strategy behind marketing, the importance of branding our businesses, how we can actually leverage that to negotiate more work and attract more customers to us versus having to be salesy and chase everybody for work. Like, that's huge. So Thank you for coming by today, dropping so many gems on us. We appreciate your time, and I truly hope and pray that you will continue to lean into what you're already doing even more. There's so many corporations that are out there that deserve your services, your touch, because you do have a touch. I'm gonna just say this, it's not like everybody else's, because I can tell your branding is different than everybody else's. I can tell when Knakeesha Samuels has touched somebody's branding strategy. So thank you again for being on the show today. Any last words you want to share? Last thoughts?
I would just say, like, again, if you're hiding behind the camera, get out there. I was that person in my first business. I did not show my face in my first business. That was a huge mistake, and it shows. So get out there, show your face, be authentic, and, just don't be afraid of putting your brand out.
Awesome. So listen, everybody, thank you again for joining us on today's episode. We want you to go ahead, subscribe to this episode series, the Revenue Disruptor Podcast, and we'll see you in the next one. See you soon. All right, that was it. Thank you so much. Hopefully I didn't Thank you for joining us on today's episode. I'm so excited about your new journey. And if you are a construction contractor looking to win $1 million contracts, join me by going to www.winmilliondollarcontracts.com. See you soon.